This working farm is the only dairy in the world that produces this scrumptious cheese, which shares its name with the county that we're in today. It's going to be a cheese-tastic escape to the country. Ta-da! In today's show, I'll be helping a couple say arrivederci to the Italian lakes and repatriate to England's green and pleasant land. But it's obvious who's on a tight leash.
I could actually get all 5 dogs in here, and if you're lucky, you can join us too, dear.
She's all heart, isn't she?
All heart, isn't she? Yes.
I am a person who likes to know what's going on in my
keep
house.
your eyes.
Oh, there's going to be no escaping her now, is there?
But perhaps the mystery property will get us out of the doghouse. Today we're in Dorset, and it's the Frisian cows on this farm that produce Dorset Blue Vinny cheese, which died out absolutely at the end of the Second World War and was resurrected on this very farm 30 years ago, which is a great example of the ancient and the modern coming together, as it so often does in this wonderful county. Off we go, Richard. Dorset is positioned on the south coast, and though only 50 miles across at its widest point, it packs a pretty punch for its diminutive size. The temptation is to dwell on the country's spectacular 95-mile stretch that makes up the Jurassic coast. But beyond its beaches and cliffs lies a county rich in unspoilt countryside, from the chalk downlands of Cranbourne Chase to the rich dairy pastures of Blackmore Vale. And its market towns are steeped in history, such as Dorchester, the county town since 1305, and inspiration for Thomas Hardy's Casterbridge. Locally quarried Portland and Purbeck stone is abundant in Dorset's housing stock. Old-world thatched cottages are typical, but the manor and farmhouses are a reminder of its rich agricultural heritage. There's not a single mile of motorway in Dorset, which makes it a particularly attractive option for those who like peace and quiet in their countryside. And of course, when you get to the east of the county, you are closer to London and you can commute, and that pushes up the house prices. So on the border of Hampshire, for example, an average detached house will cost you £50,000 more than one in the centre of the county. But as you're about to see, there's plenty of beautiful property wherever you look. £750,000 would buy you a scheduled ancient monument in the form of this 3-bedroom tithe barn in Cerne Abbas. The original cruck-beamed roof soars through the main reception room, and the light interior flows throughout. With a recording suite and offices in the outbuildings, it will really strike a chord with musicians wanting a live-work space. This 4-bedroom house in Poole dates back to 1870, but has been much extended and could be yours for £650,000. The open-plan living area flows from the kitchen with breakfast bar through to an impressive glazed dining area with a terrace that leads out to extensive gardens. For £399,000, this 3-bedroom thatched cottage in Osmington is a real surprise inside, with light flooding through its sitting room and not a beam in sight in the open-plan kitchen dining area. And the conservatory extension offers up another generous space for relaxing. As you can see, property buyers in Dorset really are spoilt for choice when it comes to beautiful views. But unfortunately, our house buyers today have really been spoilt when it comes to views. Let's meet them. Today's buyers are High Flyers Joe, a retired pilot, and Marilyn, an ex-marketing director. Love was in the air 12 years ago when they met at Heathrow Airport, and for the last 6 years, they've lived in the hills overlooking Lake Maggiore in northern Italy. Seems like a dream come true, so why on earth do they want to sell their 5-bedroom villa and settle back in rural Blighty?
I stopped working a year ago when I retired, and I feel that I need something to do, which I can't do around here, partly because of the language issue, partly just because of the way of life here.
We're approaching our twilight years, in inverted commas, and we have that feeling we'd like to move back to what is the more familiar, and that for us is home, which we regard as the UK.
So it's chocks away. But where are they hoping to touch down?
We want to move somewhere in the south of England because we would like to enjoy the slightly warmer weather.
Yes, the sun is very important to me because I grew up in the West Indies and the Far East, and I love hot climates and plenty of sun.
And they certainly want to soak up the best of what the community has to offer in the countryside.
I'm not really a city dweller. I much prefer the open spaces, being able to go for walks in woods, parkland. And if we could find a nice small village, that would really suit me, because we're always reading about villages where there are pubs and shops and post offices are shutting down, or the only way they can be kept going is by volunteers. So that's the sort of thing I'd like to get involved in, if we could find a place that needed that.
Especially volunteering at the local pub.
Yes, very important.
And for the grand homecoming, they have a long wish list for their perfect property.
Our next house must have 4 bedrooms, a large master bedroom with a full ensuite, a house with a real wow factor, a beautiful garden that's easily manageable, a couple of extra acres where we might be able to keep some animals, and it must have a stunning view. Also, if the house had a separate studio or conservatory for me to do my painting in, that would be a real added bonus.
Yeah. It can be old, it can be new. We don't really care too much. And certainly inside, we're not looking for any special features.
But there's even more to factor in.
Having 5 dogs and 3 cats sitting around you late in the evening, enjoying the fire, it would be so much better if we could have a larger living room. Please say.
Out of necessity, because Marilyn can only make banana sandwiches and I hate bananas, the kitchen is my domain. So ideally what I would like is a large country-style kitchen with a big island in the middle. Well, in Italy on Lake Maggiore, you either get the views or you get the sun. You can't have both. In our case, we chose the view, but next time I think it's very important we get everything right and have the view and the sun.
How are Joe and Marilyn planning to spend their time once they move back?
During the summer, I like to go around the steam fairs, steam railway preservation societies, and that's something I like to volunteer towards as well, if possible.
And I certainly need the space to walk 5 dogs.
Marilyn loves dogs. I tolerate them. 5 dogs for me is too many.
It's a gargantuan wish list, but do they have the budget to match?
We're looking for a property around the £1 million mark. If we did come across something that was perfect in every way, we could probably increase that by another 100,000 or so.
Because the euro is very strong against the pound, it's a very good time for us to move back to England.
The great thing about this show is that it's not just buying a house for Marilyn and Joe, but also organising a homecoming back into English culture. Now, on the property front, they want massive views and vistas and lots of space, but they do have a big budget. The one thing that slightly worries me is sun-worshipping Joe. But he'll be happy to know that Dorset, with 1,626 hours of sunshine per year, is the 2nd sunniest county in the UK. So, with magnificent views in mind, we'll be focusing our search inland from Shaftesbury in the north, straying just over the border into East Devon. We'll be seeking out and showing them the best country properties the area has to offer. And as always, I'll be asking them to guess the price of each house before revealing it to them. And lastly, there's our mystery house, which will definitely put village life on their radar. Welcome back to England, or benvenuti, as I should say. Oh, it's so nice. I can't speak any more Italian there, because we're back into the English countryside in the beautiful English weather. You must be so missing this.
Oh yes, like a hole in the head.
Now, we'll get to why you're moving back to England in a minute, but first things first, how much money have we got to spend?
Well, we were thinking of 1.1 million. If we saw something absolutely spectacular and fell in love with it, we could squeeze in possibly 1.2.
Now, in terms of the property, now, I know you've got a lovely, fluffy, white family to accommodate, as well as your 2 lovely selves. They're definitely coming with you, presumably?
Oh, absolutely. We couldn't leave the family behind.
So space for the dogs and cats, but what else?
Well, we've got a challenge for you today, Alistair, because as you've probably heard, we have a fantastic view. And if you can come up with something like this, you'll be doing fantastically well.
Well, of course, we should be in Cumbria if you want a view like this, really. We don't have lakes down in the south
Don't
of
you have
England.
that in Dorset?
But we've got some lovely houses lined up because you've got a beautiful budget. So let's go look.
Okay.
Joe and Marilyn have a grand budget of up to £1.2 million for their English country house, which along with the wow factor needs to include a large lounge that can accommodate Marilyn's 5 dogs, a huge kitchen for Joe, 4 bedrooms with a master ensuite, an artist studio, and a couple of acres of land, and lest we forget, glorious views to rival those they've enjoyed in Italy.
You, Joe, you've been a real globetrotter in your, not just in your pilot career, but also in your childhood. You were all over the place, weren't you?
Yes, I was born in Kent, but I moved to Jamaica when I was 1 year old.
So you don't have that typical childhood response to English countryside?
No, I have very little experience of it. I love the sun, sand and sea and blue skies, but unfortunately Marilyn can't stand the heat, so I'm having to make a compromise on this one.
Okay. So you're not going to complain too much about the fact that it's cloudy and wet in England?
I'm sure I will privately, but I'll make the most of it.
But I probably won't listen anyway.
For our first property, we couldn't resist hopping just over the border into East Devon to the village of Wick. It's set within the Blackdown Hills, an area of outstanding beauty. Just up the road, the village of Pottery gains a mention in the Domesday Book, and with its 15th century church and pub, it would give Joe and Marilyn the true English homecoming they're hoping for. Set into the hillside is this Grade 2 listed extended farmhouse.
So keep going, and we're going to turn around about now and get the view.
Wow.
Sacre bleu.
Oh,
A eureka
Fabulous.
moment.
That's
Very
good,
nice.
huh?
Very nice.
But let's look about the house. It's an old property. It goes, bits of it date back to the 1500s, and it's thatched. What do you feel about thatch?
I don't really know much about it at all, and I believe it's supposed to be fireproof these days for insurance purposes.
The thing is, for you, realistically, you don't need to know anything about thatch because it was rethatched 5 years ago. And typically a thatch has about 35, 40 years in it. It costs about, on average, about £1,000 a year to insure it. But it is great insulation, it's green. Let's get inside.
Okay.
Well, you couldn't get a more typically English country property, and although it's not the mountains of Lake Maggiore, it's still pretty hilly for England. Let's see if they can squeeze their 4-legged family in here.
Come into the main living space.
Well, this is very nice.
Yes, beautiful.
Wow, look at that fireplace. That's terrific.
Yeah, can you imagine the dogs
Fantastic.
I could
Yes.
actually get all 5 dogs in here, and if you're lucky, you can join us too, Joe.
there? She's all heart, isn't
All
she?
heart, isn't she? Yes.
You can start to see the history here because these beams would have been from the original
I like these,
16th
actually.
century cottage.
Very nice.
So it's nice and light as well. You've got light coming in from both sides. You've got French windows over here and another door into the garden there. Mm-hmm. So is it a good size for you, Joe?
It's an excellent size. The one thing I've got concerns about is that it doesn't actually look over the view of the valley.
Well, due to the effects of geometry, not every side of the house can face the view, but there are, don't worry, there are
Unless
lots
it
of lovely
rotated.
views. But it is southwest facing, which I know is,
Well,
is
that's
a plus for you.
plus, yes.
Let's take a look at some of those
Okay.
other rooms.
Leading off the hall is a separate, good-sized dining room with stone fireplace and wood burner, which flows through into the kitchen.
Here's our first exposure to the view.
Beautiful view. Excellent.
Now, it's not the most massive kitchen, but is it a space that you could work with?
I think what I'd do is just rip the whole lot out and rebuild it.
Because what's great is you've got a fantastic utility room on a different level. So you've got the washing machine and then lots of space, lots of storage.
And is that access to outside?
And that's access to outside, so that's great for the animals.
Yes.
Super.
Although this property is listed, in this particular instance they could, subject to planning, extend the kitchen out over one floor. This farmhouse may have more historic features than you can shake a stick at, but it's light and open with generously sized rooms which they seem to like. Let's hope the upstairs measures up.
We've got 4 bedrooms on this floor. This is one of the really good sized ones, not the master.
It's a good size. Really is. Nice room.
And then I'd like to show you the master is the other end.
On the way to the master, we pass another bedroom, a bright double, great for guests or as a possible study. At the end of the landing is the fourth bedroom, which they could convert into a dressing room, as it's next door to the modern family bathroom. And their bedroom is on the other side.
This is the master room. So here you can lie in bed with the view. It's not the biggest room, but I think the other room is slightly bigger, but this is the killer view.
Yes.
And you've got a very nice ensuite as well. But that's not the only space we have. We've done upstairs, but there's always outside.
I've got a treat in store for Joe. As the dogs have the living room, perhaps it's only fair he gets to play in the barn.
Aha! You wanted a study, you wanted a studio.
Oh, wow.
Take your pick. It's great light because you've got this skylight, so it's perfect light for painting, actually.
Yes,
and
excellent.
then you've got this view as well, so you can be inspired by the landscape.
Yeah, it's a wonderful place, yes.
Could it work?
Get a lot
Would
of
you-
things out of the way. Yeah, I think
you
it
work
certainly
as a
could, yes.
study?
Most
I don't think it
certainly.
would work for me as a study because it's hard enough to lure myself into the study and do a bit of work anyway when it's right next to the living room. I'd really want my study to be as close as possible to where the focal point of the house, where it's all going on.
Well, that's fine. There's all the more space for me and my painting and my
That'd be
train
great.
set.
Yeah.
Let's go outside for the final time and let's think
Okay.
about price.
Ooh.
Next to the house, there's another large barn with a potting shed also included in the sale. But we'll take a stroll back and survey all that could be theirs.
So here we are, back to the beginning where we started the whole tour of your property. All told, it's 2.5 acres.
It's really beautiful, and I love this walkway round here. It's a very nice feature.
So what do you think it's worth?
I would think it would absolutely have to be at the top end of our budget, so I put it at 1.2, I think.
Well, yes, I think it'd be close to that. I'll go at 1.19.
A bit more optimistic. Well, you could both be much more optimistic because this property is on the market for £975,000.
Good
Grief.
Lord.
That's amazing. Yes. Well, that's great because it gives us some money to play with to do some extensions.
Of course, the alterations that we'd like to do, the improvements we would like to do, they can all be encompassed within our budget.
Oh, great enthusiasm.
Well
why
done.
don't you
Yes.
walk round and think about what you'd like to spend that extra £200,000
Okay,
on,
we'll
and I'll
do
see you
that.
out the front.
We'll
All
do
right,
that.
thanks.
Thank you.
That way, mind yourself on the steps. That's a good response because they're demanding clients, and I think that we've supplied something that fits their brief, and it's a beautiful property, and it would be a great entrance back into English countryside living.
Under budget at £975,000, this farmhouse offers them a large living room with wood burner for the dogs to curl up in front of, a large bright kitchen with scope for an extension, 4 bedrooms with a master ensuite, outbuildings with plenty of space for Joe's studio and model steam trains, and over 2.5 acres of land with views to rival those they have in Lake Majuri.
Well, it's a beautiful country view, don't you think?
Yeah, if you can imagine this in summer, it'd be a great place to sit on the lawn.
It would be wonderful.
Overlook the view.
Absolutely wonderful. It's England at its best, I think. I think the setting is wonderful. I love the woods, the country lanes, the view. It's perfect. Really like it.
I absolutely surprised myself. When I saw it, I thought, oh my God, it's going to be a dinky little cottage inside. But it has so many interesting nooks and crannies and magical little places that, especially outside in the immediate surrounding gardens, that I really feel quite enchanted with the place.
The ground floor was excellent. The upstairs, sadly, in my opinion, let it down. The office space is excellent. I could turn that into a wonderful studio, and for me, it's perfect.
Yeah, so they've also got all these outhouses, these stables that you wanted to rescue some donkeys, right?
Yes, it'd be quite a good idea. Have
Yes.
a donkey or two.
Great idea.
I see no end to the possibilities of this property.
As the day draws to a close over the Dorset Hills, it marks the end of the first day of our property search. Joe and Marilyn are ready to leave the Italian lakes and make a grand entrance back into English country life. For £1.2 million, they want to find a property where they can live in the lap of luxury with their 5 dogs. Can our properties impress them?
This is just a hole.
This is your hall.
Wow, what a fabulous kitchen.
Big enough?
That was a wow and a fabulous.
Yes.
Joe.
Or will they be seduced by the charms of our mystery house? Dairy farming plays a major role in Dorset life, and during the week I was up with the lark.
Ooh, it's 5 in the morning, and I'm at Woodbridge Farm, just outside Sturminster Newton, which is a farm in Dorset with a difference, as we're about to find out. And of course, for farmers, they've been up for hours anyway.
This family-run dairy farm is the county's, in fact the world's, only producer of the age-old Dorset Blue Vinny cheese, having revived the recipe some 40 years ago. I'm spending the morning with the man responsible, farmer and cheesemaker Mike Davis, to learn what makes it so exceptional.
Tell me about the Blue Vinny.
Well, the Blue Vinny has been made in Dorset for hundreds of years. It was one of the cheeses that was banned in the last war because they wanted to make all the cheese into cheddar-type cheeses, hard cheeses, for easy transportation.
So, to make cheese, we need milk, and I see a fantastic herd. Can we go and see them being milked?
Yes, we can do. Yes, yes.
Since 1998, Mike's Blue Vinny cheese has held Protected Geographical Indication, or PGI status, and is one of only 13 English cheeses to be awarded this by the EU. As Camembert can only come from Normandy and Edam from Holland, PGI status safeguards a local food's heritage, its link to a specific area and its unique properties. Time to check out its key ingredient.
Ah, so this is the, do we call it a parlour?
Yes.
Milking
yes.
parlour
Milking
still?
Parlour, yes.
And how many times a day do they get?
Twice.
Twice a day?
Yes.
So how much does an average cow produce?
Well, Richard has got this herd looking really well, and they're producing, on an average, about 50 litres a day.
50 litres?
Yeah.
One cow produces 50
Yeah,
litres?
Yeah.
Oh, who knew?
Yeah.
So much milk from one cow.
Yeah.
This all turns into cheese?
Yes.
So should we go look at the cheese?
Yes, sure.
This hand-skimmed cheese is tricky to make, as the taste of the unpasteurised milk is affected by factors such as what the cows are fed and even weather conditions. Time to get a whiff of these cheeses halfway through their 8-week maturing process in the store.
So this is Blue Vinny HQ.
Yes, this is where it all goes on, Alistair.
Quite a strong smell.
Yes, well, all the cheeses are breathing and they're all living.
As am I.
as you might say.
So typically the blue starts outside and goes in?
No. In actual fact, although they've got a slight blue coat, the best cheeses we make are when the blue comes from the middle outwards.
Ah, I see. Do I ever get to taste it, or I just smell it?
No, you can taste it. We'll go up to the farmhouse.
I'm going to be smelling of it for the rest of the morning.
Yes, you are, Alistair, yes.
So at last it's back to the farmhouse for a sliver of Dorset Blue for breakfast.
So here's my first ever Dorset Vinny.
Ah, a special occasion then, Alistair.
Delicious. So you, in a way, you've resurrected the cheese.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, it had definitely died, and we have definitely resurrected it. Yeah.
Well, that must be a nice feeling that you've kind of brought something
Yes,
back
I
to
mean,
life.
you tend to get a bit blasé about it, but yes, when I stop and think sometimes, you think to yourself, well, what have you done with your life? And you think to yourself, oh, right, yes, I reinvented the Dorset Blue Vinny. And so that gives me a bit of a kick.
Very tasty it is too.
Well, thanks to Mike's contribution, an important part of Dorset's food and farming heritage is now alive again for years to come. Joe, Marilyn and I are heading to the village of Hook, some 30 miles away from Shaftesbury. But they would still be a 10-minute drive from the perfect sauntering territory of Bedminster, with its historical centre, now a conservation area, lined with some 200 listed Georgian and Tudor buildings. And set in the unspoilt countryside is this farmhouse, currently run as a bed and breakfast.
The sun is shining on us today because we've got a beautiful property to show you. Very excited about this one. As you can see, a former farmyard, but actually only from the turn of the century, 1906 it was all built, but it was completely remodelled 2001, so 9 years ago. But I really want to show you the inside of the house. that's the treat.
Okay.
This house has a grand symmetry about it, and I think the stylish interior will amaze them.
This is possibly the grandest hallway I've ever shown.
This is just a hole.
This is your hall.
Wow.
It's great size, isn't it? Fantastic.
Great floor.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can see what they've done in this incredible renovation to the property. They've added all this length and all this open space to the side.
I like the fact you have visibility straight through to the kitchen. I really like it.
It's grand, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wait till you see these. Here we got the beautiful sitting room.
Wow, yes.
What a fabulous room.
Yeah.
Isn't it great?
Beautiful.
South-facing, so flooded with light, and an open fire, which is...
And a big open fire.
Big open fire, nice focal point.
Yes.
And I must say, these see-through doors are an excellent idea. I am a person who likes to know what's going on
Yeah,
in
you
my
can keep
house.
your eyes.
Oh, there's going to
Yeah.
be no escaping her now, is there?
But actually there is, Joe, because you could hide here in the little snug,
And don't think he won't.
which is beautiful, I think, which could also work as
great.
your study.
Yes.
It's got a log burner.
Yes, perfect size, actually.
I hope there's a key to lock the door with.
Because you really can escape.
Yes, there's a back exit. I'll block that.
But isn't this a great space? This makes me want to just kind of sprawl out and read
It's
the
really
paper.
great room. Yes.
Yes.
I like it.
So, Joe, wait till you see the kitchen.
Okay.
Joe's been a man of few words so far, but let's see if he heats up in here.
Wow. What a fabulous kitchen. Yes.
Big enough?
That was a wow and a fabulous.
Yes.
Joe, this is a great kitchen.
Wonderful, wonderful. Love the skylight too.
Yeah, to let in more light.
So this was the barn. This is, that was the end of the house originally. So this was a
Right.
barn that they kind of linked into the building and turned into this fabulous kitchen. So what do you think?
I love it. Yeah, it's really, really good.
I like the fact that there's room for circulation, so we won't get the bottlenecks that we currently experience. Can't you move those dogs?
Yeah, yeah.
And you've got a fantastic walk-in pantry and then another huge sort of utility room there which is going to knock your socks off. Let's take a look upstairs because that's also, I know, important for you.
Well, they've been so captivated by downstairs that they seem to have forgotten about the views. We'll head upstairs now and explore this property's 5 bedrooms, which are spread over 2 floors.
Does the master bedroom match up to the kitchen?
It's good size. I like it already. It's nice and bright and good amount of wardrobe space. So it's a good start.
Lovely light as well. You've got the sort of south-facing windows and another window over the garden. And a massive ensuite with a double shower, his and her sink and a bathtub.
Wonderful.
Oh, yes. Didn't shortchange you on this house, Marilyn. Does it fit the bill?
It certainly does so far, yes.
On this floor, there's also a twin room with light streaming in and a large double room used as a B&B guest room right next to the family bathroom. Up on the second floor is the 4th bedroom, a single in the eaves with an ensuite.
This is another room that they use for bed and breakfast because it's a beautifully self-contained little suite. In fact, all the bedrooms bar one have ensuite.
It's a really interesting room, isn't
Yes.
it? Yeah. Love the beams. And I love houses with sort of interesting features
Yes.
like this room.
Yeah, well, this could definitely be, you could have this as your office space, although there is a considerable number of outhouses outside.
Ah, interesting.
This impressive farmhouse would really launch Joe and Marilyn into English country living in a big way. There's certainly scope for projects galore in these outhouses, dating back to when the house was built. There's a long barn, long indeed, stretching over 170 feet, and an enormous main barn, which Joe could fit a whole train station into. At the back of it is another ready-made space for him.
Ta-da! Look what they've got at the end.
Ah, a studio.
Artist studio. And obviously when all this stuff is gone, you could practically turn the whole thing into a studio.
Yes, yes, I think it's got great prospects for here.
I mean, all of these outhouses are projects, really. So you need to go around and scratch your head and see what you could do in them. But there's just enormous potential. And if you don't use them all, that's also not the end of the world. But let me show you the full extent of the land.
After you.
Thank you.
And there's plenty of it, 9.5 acres in total, with paddocks, gardens, and even a tennis court.
It's a big parcel of land with some amazing outbuildings and a beautiful property. How much do you think it's worth?
Well, I was wrong yesterday, but I feel it's absolutely the top end of our budget, 1.2 million.
Yes, I think I have to go along with Marilyn. It's got to be very close to our budget, so maybe just below 1.2.
Yes, now you're being over-optimistic because it is actually right on your budget. 1.2 million, and I think a great deal for that price because you get an awful lot of property for it and some beautiful, beautifully maintained house. So why don't you have a look, because there's a lot to think about. So have a wander around, and if you can find your way back to the... when you hear the whistle...
We'll take our sat-nav with us.
Exactly. Meet me back in the yard.
OK,
All right.
thank you.
All right, thank you.
Priced at the very top of their budget at £1.2 million, this magnificent farmhouse certainly has the wow factor they were looking for, featuring grand reception areas with plenty of space for their pets to sprawl out, an enormous kitchen breakfast room which Joe loved, 5 bedrooms with 4 en suite, and an array of outbuildings set in 9.5 acres of land. But is the prospect of so much house and land too daunting?
So what do you think of this barn?
It's certainly a very big barn. I'm slightly concerned about the extent of all the outbuildings.
Yeah, there is rather a lot, isn't there?
It would be very easy to imagine myself living here, particularly on this level. I would have to exclude the outbuildings, which are scaring me a bit in terms of their enormity, but certainly I would feel very much at home in this house. I'm just imagining a roaring fire, we have Farouche and Zara here, we can have Ulysses and Aurora next to you, and dear old Trevor in front of the fire.
He'd love it there.
Yes.
I love it. I really do. It doesn't look that much from the outside, but inside is absolutely fantastic. And the kitchen is just out of this world. Setting is a little disappointing. Not much of a view, but I think we can work with it.
You found it!
Yes, finally.
I laid a little trail of breadcrumbs to get you back.
We did
How
notice.
There's a lot to look at, isn't there?
An awful lot,
There
yeah.
certainly is.
But now it's time to move on.
Oh, slave driver.
We've given Marilyn and Joe big land and big views. Now I think it's time to test the water and see how committed they are to community when they move back to England. So for the Mystery House, we've come to a village.
Our mystery house takes us 3 miles from Shaftesbury to Motcombe, set in beautiful open countryside and peppered with gorgeous properties. But this is no sleepy village. It has a dynamic soul with a community-run post office and village store, and regular events staged at the village hall. And our mystery property puts them right at the heart of all this.
Come onto the lawn. Let's check out this mystery house and see what it makes you think. So
Well, it's different.
It's different. It's meant to be different. The reason we brought you to this house is because of where it is. You mentioned, Joe, that you really wanted to be part of the community
Yes.
and get involved with the local village life.
Yes.
And all the properties we show you so far have been very remote. So the mystery house is in the middle of a very desirable village. It's a great little slice of England. Let me tell you a little bit about the history, because it's quite interesting. These 3 cottages at the end were 3 separate dwellings, the last of which was the village post office. Mm-hmm. And this was a workshop. It was a wheelwright's and a coffin maker's. Mm. And you'll see inside again how the renovations have worked.
Interesting.
Should we take a peek?
Yes,
Why
certainly.
not?
Thank you.
Well, from the outside, our mystery property is certainly an intriguing mix of historic buildings, and the sum of its restored parts makes for a beautifully spacious home. Let's see if Joe and Marilyn are captivated by its charm inside.
So this is actually the most modern part of the house, joining up the two bits. And straight into your realm, Joe. I think this is a contender for a nice kitchen.
Very nice.
Oh, yes. Very nice. I like it.
It's beautiful because it's actually almost quadruple aspect. And certainly you feel like
Yeah.
the sun's coming in from everywhere.
Very
It's a good
lovely through
size.
the window.
And lovely flagstone flooring. You see, they spent a lot of money on this.
It's a super high-tech kitchen. Can you imagine working in here?
Oh,
definitely. Yeah.
And underfloor heating.
Oh, that works really well.
And I bet they love what's to follow.
Ta-da! This is the sitting
Wow.
room.
Brilliant. I love it. Love the high ceiling and the beams. Really nice.
So again, underfloor heating under these beautiful floorboards.
Really? Oh, no, that's a huge plus for us, actually.
Yes. And this is the main lounge, is it?
This is the main lounge, although there is more to see later on. And also, you notice there's absolutely double, triple glazing in places to keep the noise from the road. And once you're in here, you don't actually
Yes, you
it
can't hear a
at all.
thing, can you?
So we'll go back through the kitchen to the old wing of the cottage, where there's a smaller, cosier, beamed sitting room, off which is a nice bright study for Marilyn. And if she's worried about low beams, she has nothing to fear next door in the original post office, now one of the 4 bedrooms.
You see here, they painted the beam white.
Yes, that works,
That makes a
doesn't
difference,
it?
doesn't it?
It's actually
Yes.
it's still about the same height. And look here, this is a nice little detail. This was the door to the post office.
Great.
Well and truly. And again, it's got a nice ensuite. So this is essentially a little guest wing.
Again, I'm very impressed with this. I think it's
I'm
lovely.
silently evaluating. I have
Yes,
to
you're
wait
deep in
until
thought.
my opinion crystallises. I need more
It takes
time.
a while for it all to sink in. With you.
Would it help if we see upstairs?
I think so, yes.
Our mystery house may be 3 dwellings in one, but each part has been extremely well renovated and keeps its individuality. Upstairs, off the light, spacious landing, is a small single, currently decked out with bunk beds, and a bright double room. Next door, there's a modern family bathroom, and at the other end of the landing, we find their sleeping quarters.
Oh, very nice, yeah.
It's simple,
Simple but
Spacious.
effective. Yes, I like it very much.
lots of space. And then, for you, Marilyn, lots of hanging space, a
Oh, good,
dressing
someone's
room,
finally thinking of me.
and ta-da!
Oh, excellent, excellent.
And that little cupboard's for you then, Joe.
Oh, you're too kind. Yeah, that's about all I will be given as well, I'm sure. Yeah.
But a very nice ensuite, actually, big double shower.
Yes, good.
And good views out the window, that's very nice.
Out the window is where we're going next, because
Okay.
you've got a garden to explore.
And the sun's even shining.
Well, I think this much extended house offers up a surprising treat inside, with lots of room, space and light on both floors. Let's see what they make of outside.
Unlike some of the properties I've been showing you, this has not got acres and acres of land. This is what they call a manageable garden.
Yes, it's very convenient size, really, isn't it? It's been very nicely done, I have to say.
What do you think it's worth?
Good question.
God knows.
I'm going to take a stab at about just over 1 million.
I'd say just under £1 million.
Well, it's on the market for £825,000.
Oh, well done.
It's been on the market for 1 week, and I think it's going to be in high demand because it's a very
It
attractive.
probably will be.
Oh,
yes.
yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
So why don't you have a look around as usual, and then I'll meet you out the front.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Okay.
Wonderful. Well, that was a good experiment because it could have backfired horribly because it's really not what they were asking since there are no views. But I do think it's a very valid point that if you want to come back to England and you want to integrate, you've got to have neighbours. This place has neighbours.
So coming in nearly £400,000 under their budget at 825, our enchanting mystery house offers them a beautiful airy sitting room with high ceilings and period features, a large bespoke kitchen, 4 bedrooms with 2 ensuite, and just under an acre of garden, all set in the heart of a village community.
The house, in fact, is much more charming inside than at first appearance from the outside, so I was very pleasantly surprised. I love this room. In fact, I could be happy in the whole house.
I like the house very much. The garden is very good, easy to manage. The one thing I have against it is the proximity of other houses to it. The lack of a view is disappointing because obviously it is nice to have a feature to look out onto, but it's not something that's insurmountable. What do you think? Think you could live here?
The aspects I thought I wouldn't like, I actually do. I'm happy with the garden. I'm happy not having an enormous garden. I'm quite happy with the view from here.
All right, that is your lot. Time to put your thinking caps on.
Well, Joe and Marilyn's house search has reached its final destination, and I've no doubt it's given them a lot to think about.
So the weather has stayed consistently English for our Italian homebuyers, and they've braved it. Good on them. Time now to find out which of the houses they like best. Allora, now's the moment where we look back over all the properties that we've seen, starting with the house with the stunning views.
They were stunning, yes. Very, very nice indeed. And a beautiful house, particularly the ground floor layout. The gardens were wonderful. What let it down for us was the upstairs, the bedrooms. Very, very little storage space at all.
And it did feel a little bit isolated.
Can I ask about land at this point, the farmhouse?
Yeah.
Because that was a big, big plot of land. And
Wonderful house.
Stunning house.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was a stunning house. I just fell in love with it completely. Everything about it I loved. I didn't mind the outbuildings either. I could probably have found something to do with those, but I think the one thing that did put us off was the 9 acres.
The mystery house was interesting in that instance, in the sense that it didn't have much land to speak of. It had a nice garden, and it was a sort of curveball in the sense that it wasn't isolated. Well, what are your thoughts about that?
Well, the amount of land it had was slightly less than we were looking for, but it did have a very, very nice garden. And again, a beautiful house. Fell in love with it right away as well. But what really is a problem with that one is it's overlooked, and it's also very close to a road with a lot of traffic noise. And although the house was isolated from the noise inside, outside, it was quite noisy.
And what did you think, Marilyn, about the concept of being in a village as opposed to being out on a windswept hill?
I think that particular village, because it had a very good community spirit, I certainly would like to look into that more.
Is there anyone that stands out as a definite contender?
Oh, that farmhouse was
for sure.
absolutely
Yeah.
wonderful.
Stunning house. If you could just pick it up and move it somewhere else, you know, that'd be great. But I know we can't.
Losing those outbuildings in the process.
Oops.
The barn's dropped off.
Well, it's been wonderful. It's been wonderful fun. You've both been great game coming from the sunny climes of Italy to brave the elements here. So thanks very much. And I wish you the best, and I hope it all happens very swiftly.
Thank you for helping us with our learning curve.
Yes. Thank you very much, Alistair. It's been great.
Da niente.
Prego.
Bravissimo.
Well, I'm not entirely sure we've convinced Marilyn and Joe to move back to rainy old England, but I think we did do a very good job of showing them some beautiful properties and perhaps alerting them to the fact that they don't really need all the land that they were hoping to get. And without that land, they could probably get a beautiful house in their budget. So I think all round a pretty good job on what was quite an unusual brief. And if you want to see more happy house hunters looking at beautiful property in the beautiful English countryside, then join us next time for more Escape to the Country. And as Marilyn and Joe would doubtless say, arrivederci.
If you'd like to escape to the country in Scotland, England, Wales or Northern Ireland and need our help, please apply online at bbc.co.uk/be on a show.